I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
I knew it. I love when he does that.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Adrenaline in my soul, something, something, Cody Rhodes. I'm the tribal chief around here. Yeah, you see me, the tribal chief. That's right.
Time. But let me go ahead and tell you.
Shut your bitch ass up.
Welcome everybody to episode 497 of the Hoots Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your truly the nefarious one, aka Brother Adam, aka Joshie Lopez, coming to you from the sunshine state of Florida. No. Folks, this is our second episode as a full-time citizen here in the state of Florida. And I'm honored to come on here and shoot the shit with you guys here as we are down to our final 3 episodes of the Hoots Podcast happening today. This is episode 497. Episode 500 is right around the corner. If you want to participate in episode 500, please send us some audio shout-outs and farewells because it is our final episode. Make sure to send those in an MP3 file to me at thehootspodcast@gmail.com. That's podcast with an S at the end. So, also, just want to mention, guys, welcome to the program as always. I hope you guys had a wonderful holidays and Christmas and Kwanzaa or whatever you choose to celebrate during this time of year. And shout out to the good people at Odyssey, the home of Hoots Podcast, for having us on their platform. I'm excited to start another year with them, and Odyssey's been very good to us. So shout out to the good people at Odyssey for having us on their platforms. Also, you can get the podcast Hoots anywhere you can get podcasts from. Just type in the Hoots Podcast on Google, and it's very easy to find. You can hit me up on social media if you like. I'm at Twitter/X at the Hoots Podcast, Instagram, Josh Lopez Music. Please do us a favor and go to YouTube right now and subscribe to the Surf Files. That is my new podcast about Vanderpump Rules in the Bravo universe. I'm going to be putting out some new episodes very soon. Come out on the other side of the holiday, but my new podcast, the Surf Files, is going to kick into high gear into 2026. And also hit us up on TikTok because our page for the podcast has really been blowing up. So follow us at Surf Files, that's SUR Files on TikTok as well. And lastly, on plugs, remember folks, check out my transcript work in the results section of WrestlingHeadlines.com. That's my day-to-day job as of now. And hope, again, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank y'all for supporting the shows from the beginning and being on this journey with us as we get closer and closer to episode 500. All that being said, to really think about it, that like we're here, like it's about to happen. And God, I've been dealing with so much emotions for the last couple of weeks, man. Just a lot with life. Knowing that the end is coming with this podcast, and you know, moving's not easy. This has been a very heart-wrenching week for me, in good ways and bad ways. I mean, nobody says when you try to go pursue a dream or doing something for yourself that it's not things that it's not only you that's being affected during the situation. And I've been carrying a lot of guilt over the last couple days since I'm not spending time in Chicago with my family during Christmas, and things how it turned out. They turned out the way it happened, and I thank God, and I thank my dad and Eva for helping me get me here and going way beyond above I could ever expect or wanted during this process. They really made this transition smooth for me, and I can't repay them enough. It's really hard, but especially like saying goodbye like that. And I cherish the fact that I got to spend the time, at least a couple of days with them here as we were getting everything situated. And it just hasn't been easy, you know, especially missing Christmas with the family Christmas is my favorite holiday, and to not spend it with them or my mom's side of the family wasn't easy for me. So I've been trying my best to find distractions and stuff like that. I went to the movies last night at this recording. I went to a Regal movie theater in downtown Windsor Park. And I went to see Anaconda with Jack Black and Paul Rudd. It's pretty funny if you guys want to check it out. It's pretty funny. I enjoyed it. I looked at the trailer at first. I was like, I'm not really interested. And it's just my general view of the state of movies and stuff. Like, really nothing's really catching my eye. But I was like, fuck it. I needed distraction, so I'm not sitting here by myself and crying and, feeling sad. But in a lot of ways, I'm also very happy. Things are going really well here in the apartment. It's peaceful. I can go at my own pace and do my own schedule. Part of the move was getting out of the bubble and starting doing things for myself and not having to feel that I had people like watching over me as I was going through life and stuff. And I'm finally doing something for myself, and I'm excited for what's to come in the next couple of months and stuff like that. But I've been able to do a couple transcripts, get back to routine. I'll be doing SmackDown tonight, and just trying to settle in. And like it's almost a full 2 weeks next Wednesday since I've been down here, and times go by fast. But I've really tried to take this week in stride and have a smile on my face. And the last thing I was talking about with my dad before he left to go back home to Chicago is just like I'm going to try to enjoy this and make the best out of it. It's all I can do. It's something that I've been wanting for years, and I just hope that no matter what, that I make my family proud. And I wish there was a scenario where I could be working at the big radio stations and stuff like that in Chicago, but that wasn't in the cards for me. It's very age politic based in both of those radio stations, and if I had my druthers, I would be in Chicago and I would be doing media stuff, and I wouldn't go. But I needed to take this chance for myself, and I love Florida. I love the weather. I love the feel that I have for myself when I'm out here. It's like, it's one of those feelings where I can just breathe and not overthink things. And it's my happy place, I don't know what the next 5 years is going to look like. Hell, I don't even know if I'm going to be in Florida in 5 years. I don't know. I may still be here. I might go back to Chicago. I might go to California. I have no idea. I mean, California has been on my mind a little bit. Maybe parts of the new stuff that I'm doing with the Bravo stuff, and I've always wanted to be in LA in a partial way, but I've never been into anybody. But I have always wanted to be in California. But being here is good for me. This is what I need, and the world is my oyster now. So in a way, like, these are going good, man. We'll wrap up this year, 2025, and then right after the New Year's, we have our final 2 episodes of this podcast, and it's I want to go out with a bang. You guys know how I feel about the space, and it's just a drizzling cesspool of nonsense and bullshit. It's really sad what this space has become from a content creation point of view. I feel that all of us can be doing a better job. And my only hope on my way out of this, especially since we're going to 2026, is that we have more shows and more content where people are speaking for themselves. I'm so tired of listening to the same rhetorics and the same talking points and the same cadence and the same snarkiness and attitude, and I know everything, and you guys know I'm not going to repeat myself. It's just I really hope that there's some positive strides amongst this audio space of the wrestling sphere. I can control what I can control when it comes to doing the transcripts and I know there's a little bit of a budget cut that I'm going to have to deal with here. I haven't really told anybody about that, but it comes with the territory. I'm not in any position where I'm going to be furloughed or anything like that, so I don't want to make anybody concerned or anything like that. It's just things have come very hard for the site that I share my articles for, and Calvin from the site told me that my hourly wages for the TV shows are going to go down in 2025, but he told me that he's going to keep the pay-per-view prices at the same that I've been doing now, so I appreciate that. And in a bonus, the fact that SmackDown's going back to 3 hours, so while all of you are mad and pissed off about SmackDown going back to 3 hours, I'm in good spirits, man. I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful for him for keeping the pay-per-view prices the same for me, because it's very important. And I hope things turn around for the site in 2026 and we can get back to normal and I can start doing other shows again. I would love to have to go back to the opportunity where it was in 2021, where I was like covering a gazillion shows and making over $2,500 a month for the articles just from that. I would love to get to that point again. I would. I really, really would. But I'm going to let God figure that out. In the meantime, I'm going to look into find something for myself that I can do part-time and like during the day, so I can have money for myself. And not every bit of my money is going to this apartment. But I have a lot of things to look forward to, and there's a lot of responsibility with this move. And I want to make the best out of it. And it's just, if it's a way where my part-time job can keep me here at the apartment, awesome. If I have to work at a produce store or whatever, fine. I really don't give a shit. I just want to keep a smile and make this thing work. So that's where my head's at with a lot of things. I know that there's a lot of scuttlebutt about awards from certain outlets. I saw it. You guys don't need to ask me about it. The agenda is written all over it. I don't need to explain it for you. I mean, I will give props where credit is due. I don't normally agree with what this guy says a lot, but I'll give credit where credit's due with JD from New York for calling out the bullshit that was being spewed on that Sports Illustrated awards thing. Because if you don't see propaganda and agenda in those, I don't know what else to tell you. So on that note, that is the monologue this week. When we come back, we'll get to what happened this week in WWE. There's a lot of tape programming. We got to take SmackDown tonight. I think they're back with live content on Monday, with Raw actually being here in Orlando, which is pretty cool. The final Raw will be in Orlando. I know AEW has their last pay-per-view coming up tomorrow. AEW World's End back in my backyard, Chicago, at the Sears Center in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. And wrestling, a lot of stuff, big-time wrestling is going to be kicking up soon, man. You've got the 1-year anniversary of Raw on Netflix on January 5th, so that's something to look out for. And we're here to talk about it. And of course, I got questions this week for this week's edition of the Backboards Q&A session. So there's a lot to discuss here. I'm Joshie. This is episode 497 of the Hoots Podcast. As the road to episode 500 continues. And when we come back, we'll talk about what happened this week in WWE right here on the podcast at Hoots. Yeet. Welcome back here to the Hoots Podcast, folks. Episode 497. This is the road to episode 500 continues. Time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. Before we get to Raw and SmackDown, a little bit of NXT chatter, because we got New Year's Evil coming up right around the corner. That's going to be a good card. I wanted to play another snippet from John Cena's really good interview with Cody Rhodes on his podcast last week. What do you want to talk about? In this clip here, John talks about the future of the industry, and I wanted to play that clip for you guys here. It's a little long, it's about 8 minutes, but I think some really good insight here from one of the GOATs. And here's John Cena talking about the future on Cody Rhodes' What Do You Want to Talk About podcast.
First of all, thank you for being part of that, because when your music hits to a crowd who knows you it immediately brings a certain level to the live event. And you were gracious enough to work with an up-and-coming talent that has an incredibly bright future ahead of him. Probably not your last match with that
I would say not.
behemoth.
Yeah, nearly took my ear off.
But you introduced him to the noise.
Yeah.
He got to hear it for the first time.
Yeah.
And that was a personal, selfish goal of mine. How many folks can we get around the noise?
Damn, there it is again.
Let's take our top talent and put it with new talent, just so on this one night they can hearing loud noise is one thing. Hearing that level of noise is another thing.
Yeah.
And now they've heard it, so they have something to strive for. Furthering that, I got to have one last beer in the locker room in my gear, in my socks, my knee pads, the jorts.
Yeah.
And I made a toast. And the toast was to the metrics of the evening. Largest arena in WWE history.
Wow.
Largest for the building itself. Very rarely do we hit those milestones.
No, we do not. It's very rare.
And the only reason I wanted to showcase those metrics is because I said that, Haku was in the room and Javon Evans was in the room.
So your last toast in the wrestling business was with Javon and Haku
and everyone in between. I mean, we have legends, we have future stars, we have talent that are front and center in our programming. The locker room was full. I can't believe that many people stayed. So I have 12 ounces of conversation left in me, and I choose to use a moment to say, wow, this is what we did tonight. The reason we did that is because of the effort of people like Haku.
Yeah.
Also, the goal is for you younger guys to shove that shit straight up my ass.
Mm-hmm.
You now have the metric.
Yeah.
My introduction to that was a little bit more brash.
Hit me with it.
When Steve Austin came back around and we did Staples.
Yeah.
Steve was real beautiful with his wisdom.
Yeah.
I admire him for always being him, and it's a lesson that stuck with me. Champion, doing things that the business is going well. We're digging it out. There's no more is there 1,200 people.
Yeah.
But we still are throwing out some black curtain. And I think it might have been Anaheim because it's one of those. No, both the buildings had the tunnels, but it's like he walked in daylight.
Yeah, it was Anaheim.
It was Anaheim.
Yeah.
He walked in daylight. Hey, kid, how you doing? And you could see the arena from where we were at. Like, man, I'm doing great. Things are going good. I'm doing this on TV tonight. He goes, that's great. We didn't have this fucking black curtain when I performed. Have a good night. Out. But not cold, honest.
Yeah, of
the
course.
metric you should be reaching for, if you are doing what you say you're doing, is getting the word out. And I wanted to have that one last chance with the brotherhood, the family, the fraternity, to say we got here because of these folks. We need to surpass this because of you guys.
Yeah.
Let's toast to that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it felt great. It's not braggadocious because it's a moment. It's fleeting. It's gone. It's gone. But hey guys, this is the standard.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough to win 17 just so somebody knows it's possible.
Yeah.
So they can go win 18.
Right.
And I don't want to be in the dirt. I want to shake that person's hand when that happens. You know what I'm saying? Because that's for the longest time, the record would stand, and it's like, oh man, nobody's gonna even come close, and oh my God, it might be possible. Now it's possible. So if there's a young performer out there, or who knows, it's possible. That's the strongest guy in the gym. Go do more.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed that.
You said it's not braggadocious, and I think very similar in a sense. I had a conversation, I think I even told you about it, production. Someone who's new to WWE production came on my bus, and we were not seeing eye to eye on something. And it's fleeting. You only get one opportunity to kind of say, hey, look at what we did here tonight. And what I was explaining, because we've had this series of, especially with your farewell tour, we've had a series of record grosses, arena records, just stuff that hadn't happened. And then prior to that, and coming out of WrestleMania 40, a lot of top grosses, top per caps, all that language. But I said, hey, it's not always like this.
No.
It's not. There are 3,200ers. We don't want, but there are.
And the goal is, Eddie Guerrero taught me this.
Yeah.
Those nights that 1,000 folks show up, you do everything in your living power to give them the absolute best show you can. So the next time, 1,500 people will show up.
There it is.
And you go out and do double the effort. So the next time, 3,000 people.
Yeah.
Eddie was big on the law of compounding interest, one fan at a time.
Sure.
Those lessons that stick with us. Eddie Guerrero, one fan at a time. Take it one fan at a time.
My gosh.
And what I like about the metrics you discussed, like I said, that is 23 years of Owls and Eagles.
Yeah.
And that's the annuity yield. Like, that's the IRA. It doesn't happen in one, and if you are one of those folks that it happens, I've seen it happen rarely, where they're shot to the top.
Yeah.
You gotta stay there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I love the past year because it is a true reflection to, like, Owls and Eagles for 2 decades, or however you want to, whatever moniker you want to, never give up, hustle, loyalty, respect, whatever. Love what you do, be coachable, be reliable, and be professional.
Yeah.
And after 2 decades, hopefully we can do something that's meaningful.
You know, this is just a side note, because Haku is now, he's in all this. Haku should be coming on the pod, by the way. Haku once beat me up after a New Japan show. Why, in the midst of it, legendary ring announcer Jim Ross said on the air, "This angle's taken too long," while Haku was beating me up. I don't know if anyone needs to know that, but when I saw Haku at ringside, I thought for a minute, he could come over here right now, and I'd have to sell. I'd have to. I got a good handshake out of him. He was happy. He liked what he was seeing that night. He was in good spirits. But yeah, Haku, certainly cheers to him. Like you said, all the things that he had done, then all the things now framed up for the young
legends that were there.
Oh my gosh.
Mark Henry, Booker T, Undertaker, Shawn, Michelle McCool, Eve Torres, heck, Elias snuck into that group. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who
Gorilla was a who's
who paved the way.
Yeah.
I think it's important because I don't look at it like I told you off air. Like, man, that you guys are making the most we've ever made. Like, it's a good time to be a wrestler.
Yeah. You got hot because somebody had Louis Vuitton shoes on.
That's a joke.
You said you got to light the envelopes.
By the way,
paying the guys too much.
Yes, and talking like that, you know, it's complete sarcasm.
But it worried me a little. I thought, no.
I'm grateful for that.
Shoes. Yeah.
Instead of jaded.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the generation before me helped do that. It's up to you guys to get these guys in the next bracket.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To make it, and you only get to the next bracket if we do great business.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. John Cena on Cody Rhodes. What do you want to talk about podcast? All right, let's. I don't want to keep you guys here too long. I know it's been a busy week for everybody, so I'll kind of keep this episode kind of short. But I want to get some quick thoughts and takeaways from what I covered from the last week of programming, and then we'll get to the back porch Q&A session. Is that all right with you guys? All right, let's do it. Let's do it like we usually do in the past. We'll do SmackDown first. SmackDown this past week was in Hershey, Pennsylvania, part of the double taping sessions that have been going on. Big takeaway from this show for me was the part of Cody Rhodes going and invading Drew McIntyre's house, right? And things have been boiling up to a simmering point with both Cody and Drew, and things are going overboard. I saw something this week about a spoiler that I'm not a big fan of spoilers, I'm really not, but fortunately it's one of those things where you go on X and it's right there in front of your face in a timeline. So apparently on January 9th there will be a 3 stages of hell match for the WWE title with Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. So a stipulation that we haven't seen in a while. I think the last one I covered was the John Cena and Ryback one, and that one was in Chicago for Payback 2013. And when I look at that one, that was crazy because there was like a lumberjack and an ambulance match. I think this one's gonna be a little different. I know there's a lot of international shows coming up soon for the WWE because they advertised a lot of international TV shows. So I think that one's gonna be in Berlin, Germany. Some shows in Ireland. I think there's a Raw in Dumbledore, something. So there's gonna be a lot of cool international shows. But all that stuff with Cody invading Drew's house while Drew's doing negotiations with Nick Aldis, and then the promo that Nick and Cody had on the show on this past week in the ring, I thought it was good. Where Cody's like, "Hey, I don't work for you; you work for me." So I thought that was good. Kicking off the show with Aleister Black and Damian Priest, their issues been continuing to go on. It looks like something has to happen where either Damian gives his soul to Aleister Black, and that's the stipulation that's going to happen here, or they're going to become a tag team, or need a buried alive match. I'm not truly sure, but something's got to give here. Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes against DIY was a barn burner. That was fantastic. What else? A lot of build for the women's tag team division continues on. Charlotte Flair trying to get revenge on Nia Jax and Lash Legend. They defeated the Kabuki Warriors in tag action this past week. Solo Sikoa, again, being more and more disrespectful to the Wyatt family and the Wyatt Six. The main event at SmackDown this past week was the Wyatt Six against the MFTs for the tag titles. That one ended up in a no contest. The Wyatt Six still retained. So things are far from over for these two groups, and we'll see what happens as that goes on. But I'll tell you what, Solo Sikoa is a trip, man. That guy is absolutely hilarious on that microphone. Let's talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw before we get to NXT and all that stuff. We already got a couple big matches already announced for this 1-year anniversary show on Netflix. So we got, obviously, CM Punk and Braun Breaker for the World Heavyweight Championship. We got Maxie Debris and Becky Lynch Part 4. That's for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And then we got Rio and Io against the Kabuki Warriors for the Women's Tag Team titles. So some big things are cooking up on that show. Look forward to it. Braun Breaker, again, another good promo towards CM Punk. I really, really enjoyed Raw this week. It was interesting because this was the first time, from a transcription point of view, that I covered a full episode of Raw on Netflix that was already like edited and put together. I know the show was taped, obviously, but it was a little different because normally with Netflix they'll show, hey, the show's live, they get to it, but when it came to 7, you had to wait a couple of seconds for it to upload on the episode catalog portion of it. So they said that the show went about an hour. For the runtime for the tape version was 1 hour and 34 minutes. Took me a little longer to do it than that because of the fact that I'm typing out a transcript and I'm typing out matches and stuff like that. And I want to be detailed and accurate as the best way that I can be. So it was a little interesting experience doing that, and I kind of liked the format that they had. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I know some people weren't able to watch it live. Obviously, it wasn't live because it was taped, but I thought for the flow of the show and what they were able to tell in that edited 90-plus minute edition of Raw, I thought they got a lot of stuff done. I love the stuff with Maxine and Becky. That was a really, really good promo. And what I felt really the vibe of the week and things are going into 2026 is like kind of like that song from Semisonic called Closing Time. And it was kind of ironic because it's part of the countdown for this show too. So that's why I'm making it the title this week. Like, the theme I felt with the show and the program this week is like it's closing time on feuds, performers' careers, different trajectories for different people. Like, this Maxine and Becky Lynch rivalry will probably come to an end on the January 5th. We'll see a Punk's world title reign come to an end at Barclays Center on January 5th. You know, will the Kabuki Warriors still be champions on January 5th? We'll see. Will Rhea and Io's partnership last that long? We'll see. You know, we've had the retirement of John Cena. Gunther's still bragging about it, which is just tremendous. What else I wanted to put over from Raw this week? Let me look up the matches as well, because there's so much content that I consume and type out throughout the weeks, and some stuff goes over the top of my head, and I have to like go back and look. But just give me a second. I know Javon Evans fought Rayo Americano. That was a good match. I love the stuff that they did with Austin Theory this week, and kind of like the storyline thread of the show with him quasi joining the division and Heyman kind of putting Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed in their place. So like, hey, you want to talk shit about the guy, but guess what? Where were you guys a year ago? And I feel like Heyman's had done that. Heyman's had to do this a couple times where he's like, Braun and Bronson's ego get too big, and he has to like check them a little bit. Like, hey, I have a vision, and you guys are having success for a reason. Just listen to my guidance, you know. Really enjoyed the Rhea Ripley and Asuka match. I was there for the WrestleMania 37 match where Rhea won her first women's championship on the main roster. Very, very good match. Put over the Becky and Maxine segment. I see it a lot. You gotta maximize your TV time, right? And I thought that Maxine's been doing that. I think she has been one of the most improved performers of 2025, and I'm excited for her 2026. I think she's going to do well and continue to excel. And if there's ever a time where she turns heel, I think that would be cool as well. But I'll tell you what, there's nothing better on TV than a sexy woman cutting a badass promo, and there's no argument to be made. Nikki Bella was just top notch this past Monday in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The look looked phenomenal. I mean, she's probably the hottest chick out there in the world today. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know, it's the eyes. I don't know, but every time I see Nikki Bella on my screen, it's a good thing. But I loved her promo. She had no lies. You gotta put respect on her name. So next week on Raw, we'll have the triple threat match with Stephanie Becker, Raquel Rodriguez, and Nikki Bella. That's for the Women's World Championship. I believe the Usos are fighting the AJ Styles and Dragon Lee for the World Tag titles for Raw this Monday in Orlando. So we got some good things cooking up. And I mean, hell, even tonight there's a Joe Hendry concert. I believe in Joe Hendry. Bayley and Roxanne Perez was good. And then to wrap it up was the Punk Rey Mysterio match with the Vision. And again, I liked the reasoning and how things were presented with Theory. Don't let Brian Alvarez let you think that, oh, nothing has changed with Austin Theory. Like, you gotta give this some time and let this process. It's a new character for him, and let's see where it goes. Yeah, his wrestling style is his wrestling style, but he doesn't have to flip around like Javon Evans to make an impact. Don't get me wrong, I love Javon Evans, but like a lot of the glazing and stuff that I hear from him kind of makes me want to take a step back sometimes. I love the guy, but I feel like the IWC is showing Javon Evans down my throat. I just gotta be honest. Let's talk about NXT. Lola Vice and Izzy Dane kicked off the show. Very, very good match. Go check that out when you get a chance. Blake Monroe and Thea Hale had an interesting segment. They'll have their rematch at NXT New Year's Evil. Blake Monroe's another one of those performers where it's just like, God, can one get hotter? Like, holy shit. We have the beginning of the men's speed championship tournament. Tavian Hines defeating Eli Knight. That was my first time covering Eli Knight match in a while, because I remember I saw him on AEW Dark before I covered one of his matches. He's from Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, so it's nice to see him on the screen. I thought he did a good job. Really enjoyed the Obafemi and Leon Slater sit-down interview with Kelly Kincaid. They're fighting each other for the NXT Championship on January 5th at New Year's Evil. No, it's not January 5th. The 6th. Yes, January 6th will be New Year's Evil. So, Obafemi and Leon Slater, that'll be the main event of that show. That's going to be badass. Ricky Saints and Javon Evans. That's going to be dope. They're fighting each other next week. They're segment this week, and Javon is pointing out the fact that Ricky Saints is just mad that the crowd picked him over him, and they're going to fight it off tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but this coming week on XC for the final XC of 2025. More build for the Kendall Gray and JCJ match at New Year's Evil. That's one of the matches I'm mostly excited for New Year's Evil, because I love JCJ. She doesn't get enough credit for what she does in the ring, and obviously Kendall Gray's been a breakout performer of 2025 in my opinion. She's just phenomenal. The Christmas Chaos mixed tag match with Shallow Hill and Skylar Ray from LNG defeating Stacks and Ariana Grace. That was a fun match. What else was on here? Lexus King beat Andre Chase in the Speed Tournament first round action. And then the main event, this was a really good match. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It's Chelsea Green against Sol Ruka for the Women's United States Championship. Very, very good match. There was some shenanigans on the outside. Moose got into a brawl with Ethan Page. They're fighting for the North American Championship next week. Chelsea took advantage of the referee being distracted. Hit Sol with the prettier to pick up the victory. And then after the match, Zarya speared both Chelsea and Alba of the Secret Harvest. And then Sol Ruka did the double soul snatcher on the Secret Harvest to close off the show. So that is my recap for Raw, the SmackDown, and the NXT. So, folks, that is my thoughts on what happened this week in WWE. When we come back, we'll answer your questions for this week's edition of the Back Porch Q&A session right here on episode 497 of the Hoots Podcast. As the road to episode 500 continues, we'll be right back in just a few seconds. Yeet! All right. Welcome back to episode 497 of the Hoots Podcast here on the road to episode 500. Time to answer your questions for this week's edition of the Back Porch Q&A session. Back Porch Q&A session. As always, if you want to participate in the Back Porch Q&A session, all you have to do is hit me up on X at the Hoots Podcast or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. Let's do it, folks. Let's drop the X for the good brother Chris Letta at X Satan's on that 24 X on the Twitter machine. Let's see what he has for us this week. He says, "What up, Deuce? Here's some questions for your Q&A this week. Who do you think wins the NFL MVP? Matt Stafford, Josh Allen, or Drake May?" Great question. I am going to go with Matt Stafford. Yeah. I mean, Josh going back-to-back would not be a bad thing. It'd be well-deserved, but I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford. That's just my pick. That's a good question, though. Don't know what happened with JD. Do you think Judgment Day needs another member? Do you think Josh Briggs would be a good fit? I think JD's fine. He's probably nursing an injury right now. I don't have any backstage info on that, honestly, Chris. But I mean, Josh Briggs as a member of the Judgment Day would be good because they need a taller, like, heater type of guy. That's probably something like a bodyguard for Dom, or, you know, if Finn decides to turn on Dom and kicks him out of the Judgment Day, Briggs could be that heater protector guy for Balor. I can see that. That's a good suggestion. I'll say that. With the ladies in Judgment Day, who do you think turns on who? Well, just story-wise, I think it's pretty obvious that Roxanne Perez will turn on Liv Morgan before Liv turns on her. It's just egomaniacs, and I'm sure Liv hasn't forgotten what's been said about her since she's been off of TV. I think Roxanne will turn on Liv just when Liv's ego gets the best out of her, because Liv thinks that she still runs the show with the Judgment Day, but it doesn't work like that. That's not what the Judgment Day has ever been, regardless of what their iteration of the group was. That's never been what's been based on. So, I think Roxanne turns on Liv first, if you want my honest opinion. After this current deal, do you think MJF will be WWE bound? Well, I certainly hope so, because just the look of his fucking weird new haircut, does that not scream like I don't give a fuck and I'm ready to go? Like, what's up with that haircut, dude? Holy shit, that is brutal. When do you think this next Drew Cody match takes place, and what will be the stipulation? Well, unfortunately, X had to spoil it for me. It's in Berlin, Germany, in a 3 Stages of Hell match. And then finally here, he says Evans was mentioned as a free agent on Raw. He's currently in his feud with Ricky Saints. Do you think Evans heads up to the main roster after this program with Saints? Do you think his NXT title shots are over? I believe they are over, but I still think there's still a chance that maybe Javon Evans finds another title shot at Sand Deliver, and then maybe that's his swan song for NXT. I don't know. I think, you know, they don't want to hear it, but it's the truth, man. We don't need to. Oh, we need Javon in the main roster now. Be careful what you wish for, man. Like, yeah, let's get Javon in the main roster, and then he's lost in the shuffle, and then you want him to be in the world title scenes 3 months into his main roster run. Like, again, love the guy, but I feel like the wrestling media and the IWC is going way too hard for this guy, and it's a different beast, man. And him doing his marble mouth promos is not gonna last long. So, I don't know, man. I'm a fan of the guy, but I don't know, man. It's nothing about, I need to see anything more. I don't really have criticism of him. I'm a fan of his. I enjoy his matches. The promos are what they are. He's a great baby face. He's fantastic in the ring. I'm not gonna come here and glaze the guy like Brian Alvarez does, but I think he's fantastic, and I certainly think he has all the ability to be a main eventer. I just feel like the IWC and the rest of the media are working themselves into a position where they're going to be disappointed with the fact that, we gotta have Javon on Raw and SmackDown now, and if he's not the IC champion or US champion or fighting for the World Championship 3 or 4 months into the main roster, then people are going to throw hissy fits about it. I can see it right now. So, I'm looking at this from a bigger picture standpoint since I'm closing this chapter of my life of doing wrestling talk, and I can project what's going to happen in the IWC before it happens. And I just hope for Javon's case, it's just like he enjoys being in the moment where he doesn't feel like he has to put this pressure to placate to that spectrum of the audience, because he has a lot to offer to the entire aspect of the wrestling fan base, not just the lowest common denominator of the IWC simpleton marks. So that's just my honest opinion on the whole situation. But I don't know. I want to thank Chris for the awesome questions this week. As always, make sure to follow him on X at XSceneZaletta24X on the Twitter machine. that concludes our Back Porch Q&A session. Great job as always, good bro. I appreciate it. I appreciate the help. As always, if you want to participate in the Back Porch Q&A session, all you have to do is hit me up on X at the Hoots Podcast or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. I just want to say again from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for rocking with us, man. Recording these episodes, especially lately, have not been easy for me. I tried to keep a straight face. That's why I haven't been really doing videos, because sometimes I have to pause and collect myself, because it's emotional knowing that this podcast is coming to an end, and it's really meant a lot to me. And knowing now that we literally have 3 episodes left, I just want to say again from the bottom of my heart, I love each and every single one of you, and I hope in a way that this podcast has made your wrestling experience better, and just know that I care about you guys, and I love doing this podcast, and it's meant a lot to me, and it's done a lot for my life in a positive way. And even though we're saying goodbyes to this podcast, I do care about you guys, and I appreciate the support. It really has meant a lot to me, so thank you. I hope everybody's had a wonderful weekend with their families, celebrate Christmas or whatever you choose to celebrate, and keep your guys' hearts and spirits in a positive direction as we head into the new year. This, again, folks, enjoy the ride, man. We get one trip around this sun, man, and let's make the best out of it. So, a couple plugs out of the way. If you guys want to hit me up on social media, you can. I'm on Twitter, X at the Hoots Podcast, Instagram at Joshie Lopez Music. Don't forget, the home of the Hoots Podcast right now is Odyssey. So shout out to the great people at Odyssey for having us on their program and their platforms. And also, don't be afraid to subscribe to the Hoots Podcast right now on YouTube at the Hoots Podcast. Hit that like button, smash the subscribe button. Helps us expand the reach of the show. Not only that, we're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. So help us out there on the YouTube front. And if you want to find the Hoots Podcast, just type it up in Google, and it'll be right there for you. Don't forget to check out my play-by-play transcripts in the results section of WrestlingHeadlines.com or my own website, ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. And lastly, and certainly not least, remember, folks, be the authentic product that is yourself. And remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself and the man upstairs. I love each and every single one of you. I'm Joshie. This has been episode 497 of the Hoots Podcast. As the road to episode 500 continues, we go down to 4, down to 3. We'll be here for our final episode of 2025 next week. But on the note, I'm Joshie. This has been the podcast at Hoots. Happy holidays, everybody. And we'll talk to each and every single one of y'all next week. Love y'all. Yeet.
Bye-bye, bitch.